Yeah.
So spirituality matters to me, and spirituality is important. And I think sometimes people misinterpret what spirituality is and what certain churches define spirituality as. So people really kind of give their own definition of what it is. And that's why I say spirituality is different for me and it's different for you. It's you. It's where you are with God and your ancestors.
Welcome once more to Let's Talk Science with Tuli. I'm still with Dr Lungile Sitole, and now we're going into our hashtag Beyond Science segment where we find out who she is, what she does, and what makes her Lungi, who she is. Because really, Let's Talk Science is what we do as scientists and engineers, but hashtag Beyond Science is who the scientists actually are. And you find a lot of the time that they go through things that you go through, and I hope you can relate to Lungi and her life. So Lungi, outside of the science, what do you do?
Well, I don't like that question because it makes me look so boring. But it does. But outside the science, I Netflix. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
A lot of us are Netflixing.
No,
a lot.
I really go too far. I feel guilty and I'm like, you have been doing this for 6 hours.
For 6 hours!
So yes, I go overboard, yes.
What are you Netflixing?
I like violence shows. I don't know why it's and I really hate violence. Like
in real life.
I really do. I don't think I'll ever own a gun. That's how bad I am. But I love violent Netflix shows. They really mind-numbing for me. They really are. I just love them. I don't know.
Why do you need mind-numbing things?
Because I'm usually so busy. Like, when I'm at work, it's like work mode. It's you reading things, you marking, you doing so many things. And sometimes you really need to get out of that space. Because for my mental health, I need to get out of that space and just numb my mind, not think about anything. So Netflix does that for me.
So you're lecturing, you're supervising students as well. How many students are you supervising?
Sure, I think right now, I just kicked out 5. They're done. Not kicked out in a bad way. But
you graduated 5?
Yes. So I graduated masters and co-supervising 1 PhD.
Congratulations. That's like a big deal.
4 or 5, somewhere there. Something like that.
That's a big deal. It's like having your own little people that you I don't want to use the word children, but people that you like follow around, chase around.
No, my students are very independent. I mean, I'm quite strict. I force independence. So I have to chase around anybody.
I believe you.
It works out for me. But yes, I've graduated students, and I also now direct the Soweto Science Center. So I'm really it's a lot,
What happens at the Soweto Science Center?
It's basically after school program. Well, it's not, but it's designed in that manner. So we help grade 10s, 11s, and 12s with maths, physics, life sciences, and chemistry. They come in every Saturday. They're linked up with some of our lecturers who assist them with these subjects, and we expose them to other things beyond the classroom. So most of them come from disadvantaged schools. They don't have labs. They've never seen a scientist. So we expose them to those kind of things.
That's fulfilling work. I know working with high school kids is fulfilling.
Absolutely. I mean, you hear the weirdest things from them, but it's amazing. I love it.
But they're smart. Yeah, I think we underestimate how smart our teenagers actually are.
They really are.
And how plugged in and creative they are. I think
and passionate.
And very passionate, I always wonder if we were like that, if our generation was like that when we were teenagers.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't remember what we were doing.
No, I don't think so.
I was probably playing sports all the time, but and then Lungi, I know you're like you're very big on church.
Yes, I am.
Then COVID comes, and I mean, you go to ZCC, and it's a big congregation. I mean, the ZCC is quite a big system. I heard you guys have offices in London.
Yeah, of course. And in the US.
And there's like, people can apply for bursaries that go into, because I know one of my mentees goes to ZCC, and she's like, no, she's applying for a bursary. Yeah. But it's like an internal church bursary,
I mean,
it's like a whole
community.
world, this whole community, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I imagine with COVID, you must miss them a lot.
I do, because that's another thing that's another place where I find my peace and my zen, and that's where I get mind numbed. You know, I just move into another place, another realm. So I love that. And yes, COVID has been the devil on us, because we haven't opened since we closed in March 2020. So it's been tough. You know, it has been tough, but you know, we do what we can.
And you guys congregate. Hey, there's like, what's the average number that goes into Moria?
Child, I think there was a year when it was like 4 million. Woo!
4 million people.
I think there was a year when it was about that. But you know, I don't know if the numbers are inflated or less. But it's really a lot of people.
That's more people than voted in the local elections.
No, we are a huge church. I mean, one of the biggest churches in Africa.
I mean, your Mfundisi could legit become the president, and you guys will all vote for him.
He might just be. I'm just joking. He should be, because I mean, he like runs the country in terms of church members.
Especially when we think about. I mean, I think that the electoral system in South Africa is growing, right? And I think the whole independent running thing. I mean, that means that anybody with a following could become the president,
but
right?
I don't think our bishop would move in that direction. You know, our church is a very traditional church, spiritual church. We try and stay away from politics. Of course, we have politicians that are members of the church, but as a church, we really try and stay away from. Yeah, we try and stay away from things that would move our spirits in a different way. So we focus on.
Do you think politics and in the religious and spirituality space don't mix?
Of course it does, right? Yeah. Everything mixes with politics, and everything mixes with spirituality and religion, because in everything you do, it's a manifestation, right? Yeah. Everything is prophecy. So one can never say they don't mix, they do. But it's about having a level head and understanding, you know, how to balance that mix. It's a difficult place.
Is there a distinction between spirituality and religion?
Absolutely. I mean, religion is a discipline, right? If you think about...
an institution.
Of course. If you think about old biblical times, religion was designed to discipline people and have people come in and do things at certain times in a certain way. Because if we would all go to church and start singing, shouting, and screaming, it would be a disaster. Yeah. So that's what religion is, right? It teaches you a certain way of doing things. Yeah. Spirituality is something completely different for you and me, right? Yeah. Spirituality could be a mixture of your ancestors as well, right? So spirituality is bigger than what we even think about. Yeah.
And for you, the spirituality includes the ancestry.
Of course, yes, of course. It's who I am. I'm a child of the soil, you know. Yes, it does. I wouldn't say I'm out there, you know, doing the most, but yes, that is something.
You understand from a genealogy 100%. Perspective how you are your grandmother and how you are your grandfather, and that's why we have clan names as well. Because when we do these clan names, we're calling those other people, right?
Because and these are people that walked this earth before us. How would we know what to do? Masingabo was born.
Yeah.
So spirituality matters to me, and spirituality is important. And I think sometimes people misinterpret what spirituality is and what certain churches define spirituality as. So people really kind of give their own definition of what it is. And that's why I say spirituality is different for me and it's different for you. It's you. It's where you are with God and your ancestors.
And for you, what's the relationship between God and Jesus and the underground gang?
It's a triangle, right? They all work. I mean, it's for me, it's like it's a triangle.
Everybody works together for the good of.
For the greater good, and it's you can't kind of be closer to one and not the other, because then you lose balance as well of who you are. Because sometimes some people, they're very strict, and when you will be like, I'm in the church, I don't do kokos, I'm only like and it happens that way, you know. Yeah. So for me, it's a triangle. Yeah, it's a triangle.
It's not like there's this or there's the other.
No, for me,
it's all. It's together and it works for
absolutely.
You.
We all come from God. No koko, they come from God. He kind of knew that they were gonna leave at some point, and this is what they're gonna do when they're gone. So for me, it's one. You know, it merges at some points. Yeah.
I admire the growth of the ZCC Church. It honestly is such a huge institution. I mean, and I think that, I mean, we see, what is the significance of the star and the bird?
So, you know, historically, They all came like kind of from the same place, historically.
Yeah.
It's like evolution in a way to think about it. And then, I don't know where or how or where they then went separate ways. And one is the star and one is then the bird. So
but the star is definitely bigger. Not that size matters, but the star is definitely bigger.
Funny enough, I really don't know, but I think the star is bigger, but the other church is also very big.
Is it huge as well?
Yeah.
Heibo.
It's also very big. It's just that you don't see them as often as you would see the star. I mean, every second person you might see a star.
Yeah.
But they are equally, they both have really huge congregations. Yeah.
Sure. I like as soon as the whole independent running thing in the political space came through, I was like, hey, abomfundisi yay, there is going to be a president who runs independently. They are going to be the leader of a church, and every day at 8 o'clock where the whole country must be able to stand still, we must pray.
But actually, you will be surprised the well of intelligence and knowledge that is within the ZCC Church. I mean, a church that has almost 4 million members, you can imagine wealth of knowledge in there, people that could run the country that are members of that church. So we're not necessarily looking at our bishop as somebody who could, but somebody that could be somebody that is part of the church, right? So it's very interesting times that we are living in.
I want to be
very interesting.
I want to be president in not 24, not 28, maybe in the 30s.
Independent, I guess.
So I must start now and give also that.
No, I'm not guaranteeing. I'm not guaranteeing that you'll get us the points. Whoa.
But I will be within.
No, that should not motivate you. Okay, no, don't do that.
I think having had grown up in a church that is of that aligns to spirituality, I find it sometimes when I go to other churches, I find it difficult sometimes to connect.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Who are you telling?
And I mean I have to like, because konting ifuna and I can feel ukuthi Leo yindayiko, and I mean I think and we go through these, I know for me, I go through these internal battles of is it this or is it that? But it's also internal battles that come from external pressure.
Of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because you when yourself, you feel like you're in unison.
Yes.
You're doing what you're doing where you're doing it, and nobody's saying anyone shouldn't do anything that they do. But externally, you have this rush of turmoil because all of a sudden there's a distinction between spirituality and there's a distinction between religion. and then you and then spirituality is religious, and so they are internal, and I think as African people, I think we need to search ourselves where this is concerned. I don't know what's right and I don't know what's wrong. I know how I feel. I know how I feel. I know that when I'm in, but it also maybe is because of exposure. When you're in the church you grew up in that church, and you feel a particular way because you're used to it. Then you go to a different church and I can connect,
but it's not the same, right?
But sometimes there's a particular clap that I want.
Yeah. You need to find that clap. You have to, yeah.
There's a particular clap that I want, and there's a particular mama that I want to see move in a particular way.
Yes.
And that's gonna do something to me. And if it's not there sometimes I find it, a little difficult.
You have to find it. Look, I didn't grow up in the ZCC Church, right?
Yeah.
I grew up between Dutch Reform, Roman Catholic, So for me, I was in your position at some point when I was a postgraduate student, and I had a lot of internal spiritual battles because I didn't know where my spirit moves. So I went to a lot of churches. I mean, non-denominational, apostolic, a lot. I explored a lot of churches trying to find something to fill that void.
Speak to you.
Okay? Trying to find that, close that hole, because I had a hole and I just didn't get it.
And you recognized that you had a hole.
Yeah, and I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And until, of course, I found ZCC. So the thing about it is your spirit as a person moves in different places.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be forced to go to a church that doesn't align with your spirit, because your spirit has to move. That's what matters.
Yeah.
So that's where you need to be. And for me, ZCC is that home. That's where I found that, okay, yeah, that's la, my spirit is feeling a certain kind of way, and I'm enjoying this feeling.
And we're spiritual beings.
Yes.
And because we're spiritual beings, it doesn't matter what it is, even if you eat something that's bad. You before you even start being symptomatic, you're just like, hey, there's something that I don't,
right?
There's something that's not the gelling,
Yes.
because we're spiritual and we connect with people spiritually as well. Even just outside of being religious or not being religious. I mean, I know people that I feel like I connect with so deeply, but like I have a mentor, for example, that doesn't believe in anything.
Yeah.
All right. But him and I connect so much. And for me, he's one of the people that have made such a big difference in a lot of people's lives. Doesn't go out to hurt anybody. And I think that, but I can't say he's not a spiritual person.
No.
Because I connect with him and he connects with me. And he connects with the people that he's around, So I do think that there's something about spirituality that is very personal.
Of course.
But we almost want to make it a stadium thing. We almost want to make spirituality a group activity all the time.
And it's not.
Because
it never is.
It's a personal thing.
It never is, truly, ever. It will never be a group activity, because remember that your people and your God is yours, right? Okay, our God is for us all. But when he comes and he talks to Tuli, he's not going to call Tuli no Lungile Sitole.
One man.
Yes, that is your secret, and it's you, right? And the problem becomes
sacred,
like you say, the problem becomes like say when we make it a community engagement, and then it becomes a problem. You get confused. That's where you become, you have all these conflicts internally, because you are picking up what other people are saying.
Yeah.
You are picking up what other people are being told, but that's not what has been said to you. So you need to find that place
where you are able to even listen.
Yes.
To what is being said to you.
You have to find a place of silence, right? Internal silence, external silence, where you can hear makuluma, where you can
How
hear
do you
God
find
speak.
that silence? How do you find that silence?
For me personally, I went through a very difficult spiritual journey. I lost all my friends, right? I had a time when I was very friendly, I was very bubbly, I was an extrovert, I had friends. And there came a time when I lost all of that. I'm now an introvert. And I love the way I am, because that's who I grew into becoming. And I think that's who I'm supposed to be.
I'm pretty sure anyone who's listening or watching is saying, that lady is not an introvert. There's no way she's an introvert.
Everybody thinks I'm such an extrovert. It's because I'm bubbly. I love it. But internally, I just want to be by myself. And I think I found that I can listen better, Mangiwan. So they removed everyone. God removed everyone in my space. I lost friends. I became a recluse.
Because there was noise.
There was too much noise, and he couldn't access me. He can't get you amidst noise. Because
you must be accessible.
And you'll think it's me speaking, if you're around noise. So he has to isolate. And it's a painful period. Being isolated is not nice in any aspect, whether it's spiritual. It's not nice. But that's where I found I know how to listen to the Spirit speak, because I know how to be alone. And along the way, I guess I enjoyed it too much.
Well.
I enjoyed it too much, and I decided I'm not even gonna go on and make friends again. I'm fine being an introvert, being by myself. I'm comfortable. I'm very comfortable with who I am. I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I come across people who will judge me too. I was putting why?
And you've got such beautiful, rich, long hair.
But you don't understand my journey. You don't understand, it's my journey.
Yes.
And it goes back to, it's not a community engagement. It's not a community activity. It's Lungile's activity. It's Tuli's activity.
Yes.
And that's what matters.
What does the duk mean?
Look, for me, I wouldn't say there's a specific meaning to the duk, okay? But if we go back to ZCC, I'm sure when we go to church, we covered. Right? It's how the church wants us to look. And outside of that, of course, people wear whatever, because everybody, it's a democratic country, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know if
you take it outside the church as well.
Yes.
Because I know there are people who go to the ZCC Church who wear pants.
Of course.
So it's like, for you, that's what you've chosen to
Yes.
do, even outside of. It's not like it's bondage.
And namadlozi awafani Thuli. I think it goes back to that. You know, when you go back to the spiritual, amadlozi omuntu awafani. Kunamadlozi that don't allow you to do certain things. It's not because abakuthandi, and it's not because bakuncinci life. They know what could happen to you.
Yeah, I feel like those people Shana life.
Not at all.
Because actually,
Back protect.
because I'm just like, why can't I make the decisions I want to make about stuff?
They don't stop you, Thuli. It's like praying. You get on your knees and you say, God, I am going to Lungile's house. As I go on my journey to her house, be with me, man. So I must come back. You ask. You say, God, sometimes I want to wear my short pants, man. Hey, man, can you give me the strength to not feel guilty as I'm doing it? So you ask. For me, I'm fine. I'm happy being this way. If I wanted to, I could ask God and say, God, can I do it without feeling guilty? Because that's what's important to me.
It's an internal thing. It's a guilt.
It is an internal thing. It's an internal thing.
Look, I think this conversation, I've been like yearning for someone to come through so we can have this conversation, and I think it's a conversation that can go on for a very long time, and I think it's going to be interesting to hear what the response is. But I think for me, what I'm getting and what I'm appreciating and almost envious of is the ability to be still, to be one with yourself, to be able to listen when you should, to know and be able to think about how you need to act about it, to silence the external. And I think a lot of us want to almost to think that that's where we are.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of us go out on social media and even say that we're that. But I actually don't think a lot of us are there.
It's a
you know,
place to
and
be.
I think I am envious of it. I want to be able to, and wish for you that's listening or you that's watching through YouTube, that we all get to a point where we're so happy and so comfortable with who we are that we're able to shut out external noise and external influences for the betterment of ourselves. And with that, that's the end of Let's Talk Science, or rather this episode of Let's Talk Science with Thuli, and I really enjoyed having Lungi. Thank you so much, Lungi. That was such an awesome conversation.
Thank you, Thuli. Thank you. It was. I enjoyed it a lot.
I loved
Took
that.
me out of my comfort zone.
I love taking people out of their comfort zone. So if I was able to achieve that, I'm happy I achieved that. Do tune in on YouTube. Everywhere it's Let's Talk Science with Thuli. Listen to the podcast if you are the kind of person who wants to hear while you work, while you drive. It's on all of your favorite audio streaming platforms. Until next time, Dr. Sitole and I are out. Cheers. See you next time.